Touch the leg and welcome to Tibet this week, where we bring you weekly news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's have a look at today's headlines. His Holiness the Dalai Lama joined prayers at the 35th Nyingma Monalm Chenmo. His Holiness the Dalai Lama congratulates the Prime Minister-elect of Bhutan. His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration leadership congratulates President-elect Ching-te of Taiwan. Tibetan Association of Vermont organizes 19th Annual Tibet Festival. Auckland Tibetan community welcomes former Tibetan political prisoner Venerable Golog Jigme to New Zealand. On Thursday this week, His Holiness the Dalai Lama paid a visit to Mahabodhi Temple, where he joined for prayers at 35th Nyingma Monalm Chenmo on the final day of his stay in Bodh Gaya.
Enda si tüdürü ya malum ceva kaşamur ya orede yine zo de nisha çok sigrin ya sosu semdi 점된데게 공보다 맹겨지기 삼번남다 지게다 쳐버셔거리 뒤에 장면 돌려야죠.
After more than a month stay and teaching in the holy village of Bodh Gaya, the site of Buddha's enlightenment, His Holiness the Dalai Lama left Bodh Gaya for New Delhi this morning. His Holiness the Dalai Lama has written to congratulate Tshering Topgel, the Prime Minister-elect of Bhutan, on 13 January following the recent general election in the country. In the letter, His Holiness wrote of shared historic relationship and distinct form of Buddhism in common between Tibetan and Bhutanese people. His Holiness wished the Bhutanese Prime Minister every success in his endeavors for the welfare of his country and people. Following the presidential elections in Taiwan on 13 January, His Holiness the Dalai Lama has written to Mr. Ching-te, the President-elect, to offer his warm congratulations. His Holiness wrote, "Observing the exercise of democracy as has just taken place in Taiwan is a source of encouragement for all of us who aspire to live in a freedom and dignity." His Holiness also reminisced his several visits to Taiwan and admired the strong devotion of Taiwanese Buddhists and wished to fulfill their requests for teachings and spiritual guidance from time to time. His Holiness wished Mr. Lai every success in meeting the challenges that lie ahead in fulfilling the hopes and aspirations of the people of Taiwan. Sigyong Bimbatsring of the Central Tibetan Administration and Deputy Speaker Thomas Ringteka, on behalf of Tibetan Parliament in Exile and people of Tibet, also extended their congratulatory letter to the President-elect Ching-te of Taiwan on his election victory. Both the leaders praised the victory of Democratic Progressive Party during this election as a testament to the unyielding commitment of Taiwanese people to the principles of democracy and freedom. A news coming from Tibet, Chinese authorities and Usual Public Security Bureau sentenced Tibetan right activist Ching-te to 15-day administrative detention on 25th October 2023 after she exposed Chinese officials' practice of racial discrimination against Tibetans in series of videos. On 25th December, she was rearrested after she fought against the officials' attempt to breach her right to privacy. Despite the legitimate grievances and concerns Ching-te raised, the police falsely accused her of provoking trouble and spreading misinformation on social media as part of their routine crackdown on individuals deemed disloyal to the party. Ching-te was arrested in November 2020 on false charges of disturbing social stability, during which she was denied sufficient food, fined 1,000 Chinese yuan, and her family was subjected to intimidation. Originally from Trika County, Ching-te operates Tibet World Tours and Travel in Usual City, where she arranges tours to various places in Tibet and abroad. To promote awareness about the Tibetan freedom struggle, the Tibetan Association of Vermont recently hosted its 19th annual Tibet Festival. The annual event aims to highlight the unique Tibetan identity, emphasizing the rich Tibetan religion and culture, and to shed light on the current challenging situation in Tibet by distributing informative materials. Venerable Golog Jigme, a high-profile former Tibetan political prisoner and human rights activist, is currently in New Zealand. On January 12, the Auckland Tibetan Association organized a dinner reception cum talk session with Venerable Golog Jigme, followed by a question and answer session with the public. Venerable Golog Jigme spoke about his covert political activities in Tibet, his participation in the 2008 Tibetan National Uprising, as well as making the documentary film Leaving Fear Behind with Tintu Bongchen. Venerable Golog Jigme Gyatso has written his remarkable personal story of resistance, persecution, torture and escape from Chinese-occupied Tibet last year, titled Cry for Truth. That is all the news for this week's edition of Tibet This Week. Thank you for watching Tibettv.